Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my Xbox Games Showcase 2025 and Summer Game Fest 2025 impressions. I decided to kind of blame them all together because there's a lot of good stuff to talk about with Xbox, and there's a couple of interesting ones, and maybe some even more ones that I'd see in the article that I'm looking at for Summer Game Fest because they weren't really announced or looked into at the Xbox Showcase. So I kind of caught it a little bit live, but then also just watched through it when I had to go do some other kind of things. Overall, I think Xbox had a nice, strong games one. We're seeing a little bit more out of their acquisitions now. Seeing more with the DLC for Indie, which looks pretty cool and interesting. And then I'm going to check out Obsidian really starting to pump out a lot of stuff as well. We're getting more from their first parties, which they pretty much also acquired. So it's a little bit upper on par when you're kind of like comparing it to Sony at this point, because Sony's just really had Ghost of Yotai and they're pretty much peripheral kind of thing. But Xbox was not without its faults in this either. We pretty much got a tease of like a Halo announcement with nothing, and that next year we'll be playing Fable as well, and no Fable look at either. So your main kind of beef here was like Obsidian doing their kind of stuff with Outer Worlds 2, which I'm going to check out, and Grounded 2, and some other... and talking about About, which already came out this year. I also didn't like how they were pretty much pushing that the Asus ROG Xbox Ally, where they pretty much just put certain kind of Xbox stuff in and pretty much touting it as their own hardware. No. And it really kind of doubled down more on their spreading throughout the ecosystem, more going on third party. This is mainly concerning because if you follow Microsoft as a company, they aren't known for sticking with hardware very long. I mean, it's longer on a timeline scale of like, oh yeah, I was like 5 and now I'm like 13 or whatnot. That's a pretty long time. Yeah, but once you've gotten to a point where you've been seeing these fuckers do this shit for a couple decades now and dropping Surfaces and HoloLenses and Windows phones and stuff and just not understanding what to do in the hardware space, you get a little bit antsy when they start doing some stupid ass shit like this. And the stupid ass shit is not partnering with other people. It's pretty much claiming it and be like, marketing, ha ha ha, this is the Xbox kind of thing. It's like, okay. And then also talking about like the movies and the TV shows. Now, again, this is because I'm an old fuckhead, but whenever I see anything like that talked about at what is supposed to be the game show, because God, I really need some fucking person to get us an E3 kind of thing again, where we just gather the people and just say, listen, I don't care if you do it in your fucking backyard. We're gonna do it in a week, and we're gonna show it off for everybody, and just fucking do it that way. Because whatever's doing it right now isn't working. But when you're talking about the movies and the TV shows, yeah, it's connected to the games. This gives me the flashbacks of when they were doing the Xbox One thing and going TV shit, and that's just not working, and it's like, don't do that. Those are my real big kind of knocks on them. Otherwise, they showed a nice giant breadth of games and everything going on. Let's crack into this. We got Call of Duty Black Ops 7, PC and consoles. It was revealed by like a look at like some Mason character. It's really kind of weird because of like Jess from Gilmore Girls. I know I'm dating myself like a complete and utter fucko by that, but also I don't know what his character is in This Is Us, but I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? At first I thought it was going to be something from Remedy and being kind of Quantum Breakish, and then I'm like, oh, Call of Duty, alright. I don't hate Call of Duty. I used to like Call of Duty and play Call of Duty with my friends. It's just Activision turned it into, we gonna pump it out like ain't nobody's business. It's like, alright. Hollow Knight Silksong is supposedly supposed to come out in 2025, and Xbox, listen, even though I would wish that Xbox was better on their kind of strategy thing, I do like their Play Anywhere and being able to have cross progression across everywhere. However, that is going to severely probably hamper their hardware and adoption developments on that, and put it more on the subscription and services kind of side, which I would rather them not do. I would rather own my games and support the developers and stuff instead of being stuck in a reoccurring revenue model where they're like, I'ma pump your ass for all your money, bitch. All your money, bitch, ass. It's like, no! God damn it! Give me the good product. Of course, talking about, this evidently is going in, like, reverse fucking order here, which was why it was kind of confusing me. Weird fucking article. We also get Phil Spencer, of course, teasing Forza, Fable, Gears of War E-Day, and, like, Halo in 2026. Our big thing with Gears is that they're, of course, launching the remaster of the first one again in August. I mean, it's good for me because it's on PC. And I'm like, okay, cool. I want to collect this shit because I'm moving to PC, assholes. Let's rock this shit. But I would have rather than had done, like, a Master Chief collection with the Phoenix collection and just, like, if you can at least get the 3, just do the 3. I mean, you also get Judgment in there. Any kind of other ones. I'm like, one's good. What about the other 2? They're good too. Of course, them dropping that Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade coming out to Xbox, and then Final Fantasy XVI dropping out today, which I'm like, good. I enjoyed that. Have the people have it. It's like, alright, nice little surprise. We got a look at the Invincible Versus fighting game. I like the kind of, it's, the Skybound style and everything, and the kind of comic book cel shading. Again, I'm not really into fighting games, but I'm glad we got a fighting game to kind of blast up for that. Persona 4 Remake is coming, and it's called Persona 4 Revival, so we didn't really get much on that one, just like, hey, here's this shit, motherfucker. It's like, cool, thank you. Yes, I was going to play the other ones on Xbox, and then was thinking about getting them on PC, but then they did the Persona 3 Reload, and now they're doing this one, so I just want to play the ones that are kind of closer and probably play style to Persona 5, since that was my first one. We got Animo. That's really kind of weird. It's kind of a Pokemon one, which, incidentally enough, is not the weirdest other kind of thing that happened, because we also got a Game Freak game that isn't Pokemon. I'm like, they let those fuckers off to actually do other things? Yeah! So, hopefully this has this, but it looks like a kind of Nier Automata Souls kind of like thing going on there. It's a weird thing. Like, check out the trailer where you're, like, transforming into pretty much the Pokemon creatures and just doing some random shit. I need to look more into it, but it's really kind of... it's a telling kind of thing when I'm actually seeing stuff for certain kind of games, pausing it, going to Steam to see if it's already available to wishlist. So I have to keep this up and keep looking at certain kind of things because I'm like, ooh, there's a lot of good stuff here. Age of Mythology expansion was done, putting with, like, Japanese mythology. Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf. That's in 2026. That looks like kind of a platformer kind of thing. I'm not that well versed with it, but art style looks pretty interesting. If that's your kind of game, kind of see what's popping off with it. Mudang 2 Hearts. This one's a weird one. Evidently, there's kind of stealth, action, horror. It gave me kind of Resident Evil vibes, but with Korean kind of style because they're speaking Korean. There's some kind of rage zombie kind of thing kind of going on. Very kind of interesting. I looked like we saw some kind of representations of gameplay where you shift between various different kind of characters. One being kind of like a high school kind of girl, maybe? College? I don't know. Her being more of not really doing direct action. We get some kind of soldier kind of dude kind of going on, and we'll see how that kind of works out. I wasn't able to find it to wishlist it yet, but I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it because I'm like, alright, who the hell are you? What the fuck is this thing? And I've never heard of EVR Studio, so I'm like, alright, new studio, new game. Yes, please! Thank you very much. Let's look at this. There are no ghosts at the Grand. This one's a kind of weird one. It looks like a kind of... It's a first-person kind of game. Where at first it looks like you're like, oh, we're going to build this place back up and use magical kind of things, almost kind of like a power washer simulator, slice of life kind of thing, and then it's kind of done a turn where you're doing this was your father's, and he disappeared, and now you're also working with some other dude trying to steal shit from this town. It's like, okay, let's see what goes on here. Aphelion is some kind of like space adventure. Definitely getting some kind of Dead Space-ish vibes. Not as much as Pragmata with how that controlled. This one's more like you're in space and shit be fucking freaky and weird. We're mainly showcased with this first character that's kind of looking for someone else, and he kind of like pops up and something's making some kind of weird alienish kind of sound. It's like, okay. And she's more dealing with environmental kind of things as her ship pretty much crash lands on this thing. So it's like, you got me. Let's kind of see what's going on here. We also got to look at Clockwork Revolution, which is in exile. Another one that has been created in Xbox, and I'm like, ooh, this looks really interesting. Set in 1895, bringing in elements of like time travel and working with time, steampunk elements as well, in regards to working with guns and everything, and automatons, robots and everything. Looks crazy Victorian era kind of shit with like steampunk industrial revolution and timey-wimey hijinks and everything, and picking what you kind of want your character to look like and say. I'm definitely intrigued with this. I'm like, okay, good. It looks like we're getting some interesting stuff out of the Xbox games that are coming out. We'll just have to see if that trends long enough, because Microsoft's leadership is a bag of fucking asses. We got another look at Cronos: The New Dawn, which I like. Okay, cool. Again, one that I would pretty much say is kind of Dead Space-ish. This one not set in space, but on Earth, but like the third person, you're like, oh god, what the fuck's kind of going on with this? With Resident Evil kind of stuff, you can really see the different kind of influences here by developer Blooper Team. So we'll see how this works out. Even the article said Dead Space looking horror game. Grounded 2, and they did a deep dive for Outer Worlds 2 and Grounded 2 after this. I'm not that much into Grounded 2, but check it out if you're interested. Spiritfarer developer reveals game at Fate's End. I wasn't even looking into this, but it looks again like a Metroidvania kind of thing with some interesting kind of Souls-like action. Let's see. And that you pick certain kind of things, an action-focused story. We'll see how that kind of works out, because you see the main character utilizing this kind of sword kind of thing, fighting her kind of family members, some of them having like weirder powers and blood kind of powers and shit. It's like, ooh, okay. I don't know much about this, but see what goes on with this. Beast of Reincarnation, the Game Freak one. This is just like, what the fuck? How did this one occur? How did this happen? And how is this going on like this? It's coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Look to see which or where these kind of games are coming on. But to be fair, it's probably if at any point it says Xbox PC, it's going to be coming to PlayStation at a certain kind of point. It's either depending upon how long the lockdown is. Even at that case, I think waiting of like 5 years at this point before Microsoft completely goes complete multi-platform strategy. I don't think anything's off the table at this point. You guys on PlayStation are going to be really set for getting a glut of other kind of games. I know that everybody was kind of freaking out when Microsoft was acquiring this stuff, but I never thought we'd go to this kind of route where they would essentially just buy up everything and just become a third party and then just still port the stuff up, which I'm glad that you guys are getting those games, okay? I don't want people to have games taken from them by giant corpo fuckboys doing giant corpo fuckboys things. So, look at Beast of Reincarnation. We didn't get too much. It was more kind of cinematic. Still potential kind of gameplay elements. Again, more kind of action. Dark Souls-esque kind of stuff. We also got Ninja Gaiden, and this better fucking bring that up. Let's see. We also got... yeah, there's Ninja Gaiden in this motherfucker. Look at Double Fine's next game, Keeper, which you're running around as a lighthouse and having like a bird companion. It looks interesting. I mean, I don't know how much of a kind of story we're going to get dialogue-wise, but it doesn't really look like that's going to be the kind of game it is. It looks like a kind of strange, kind of magical world, and we're just going to see what kind of works out on that. That's October 17th, 2025, PC, Steam, and Xbox devices. Of course, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle DLC. We just mainly saw a kind of first look trailer. It didn't really show too much, but keep an eye out for it. I got that game for free when I got my graphics card when I was building my computer. So the one that I got is like the premium, so it's coming with that. So I'm like, yeah, cool. That is September 4th, 2025. That comes out. We also got to look at Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3+4. So if you're into that, look into it. We got some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Doom content on that. Ninja Gaiden 4 looks really kind of cool with like two kind of protagonists. Of course, Ryo Hayabusa popping in. This other dude popping in. It looks really good. We saw gameplay of how the action and everything looks. I'm like, oh yeah, this should be pretty good. I like how the fighting style kind of works into it, and it just looks like it flows pretty well. Now, looking like it flows very well, and playing like it flows very well are two very different things. So we'll see how that kind of works out. Super Meat Boy 3D as well. I'm like, wow, and it looks kind of crazy. I've never really been into Super Meat Boy, but this looks like a pretty kind of cool one of like the movement from like Mario to 2D to 3D. So check it out if you got a chance. It looks kind of crazy as shit. Sea of Thieves Season 17 shit. So I'm not that much into Sea of Thieves. It's mainly because of just how I kind of view live service games anymore. Curse the Rock. Residents of Plague Tale Legacy was kind of a weird reveal. It's just mainly a trailer. It really doesn't tell you much else of what's coming on with it. We got to look at High on Life 2, which was just purely cinematic. We'll have to see how that kind of works out. We saw some kind of looks at different kind of guns and weapons that are popping up, so we'll see how that kind of works out there. Outer Worlds 2, set for release on October 29th. That was what they kind of opened up with, and that looked pretty good. Showcasing, like, fighting against corpos and trying to stop them from getting some kind of mind control device. Alright, let's see here. Summer Game Fest. Resident Evil 9. That I wanted to bring up. I liked the look at the trailer, bringing back Raccoon City and everything. I was like, okay, interesting. Let's see. February 27th, 2026. PS5, Xbox, and PC. We'll have to see how this kind of works out. We're playing this kind of youngish agent. We'll see how she kind of deals with this. Evidently, her mother was involved in this kind of... she was killed at this hotel, and stupidly, the dude's like, hey, we're gonna, like, expose you to this past trauma. Let's kind of see how this kind of works out here. It's like, alright, dude, that sounds like a shitty way to do it, but alright. But I was like, yay, Resident Evil 9. Resident Evil Requiem, as it's called. So, keep an eye on that. It looked really kind of good. Graphically, we'll have to see how the gameplay works out, if we're going first person or third person, or if there's going to be a mix of the two. I think it's more staying into the first person kind of realm, but you never kind of know what goes on with these kind of things. This seems to be a kind of shift because we finished Ethan's story, so we'll see what they kind of want to do. I think they're going to stick with the first person for a while and see what happens. There's a Lies of P Overture being available. Dying Light the Beast release date set for August. Not really that interested in that one. Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver. Okay. Didn't really know that much about that one. Got more of a look at Onimusha Way of the Sword. That... I liked how we saw kind of the gameplay, just even a little bit more of it. It looks like a nice kind of evolution of the Onimusha action formula. I know that it's not a complete kind of tank control or anything like that, but it doesn't look completely like a Dark Souls-like one either. I think like games like Onimusha might have informed Dark Souls, and now we're gotten back to a point where Dark Souls might inform Onimusha as well. But it looks like it's got a distinct kind of feel to me that I don't really get from any kind of other Souls-like game. We also have a Game of Thrones fucking real-time strategy game coming out. We pretty much got a cinematic trailer for that, so it's like, eh. You'd have to see what goes on with that. Some stuff on Arc Raiders, Hitman World of Assassinations, Scott Pilgrim EX, Co-op Brawler. That could be interesting if you're into that. Mortal Shell 2, speaking of kind of Souls-like. Let's see. Square Enix reveals Killer Inn, a new team-based social deduction game at Summer Game Fest. That's kind of weird. Let's see. The Twisted that the Lambs... Oh, let me see. It's a not quite pleasant party, however, as the Wolves team must murder all of the Lambs. The Twisted that the Lambs don't know who their teammates are and need to discover who is trying to murder them and who is their friend. That sounds kind of interesting. I might have to look into that. Death Stranding 2... Wild Gates, the space shooter from former Blizzard devs, is out next month. Cool. Stranger Than Heaven. This looks pretty interesting from Ryuga Gotoku's new name for their Project Century game. They're the ones that are behind Yakuza / Like a Dragon. I gotta look at this and I'm like, okay, it seems to be jumping around different kind of time periods, evidently. I didn't catch the first kind of trailer for it, but evidently this other one's set in like the 1940s. More towards the 1950s, and looks to be more kind of like a brawler-based kind of one. So if you're into the brawler kind of feel that the Yakuza games had before switching to turn-based, and then also keeping that on as the kind of spin-off kind of stuff that happens sometimes, check this out. Let's see. Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree, Bandai Namco, a Hades-like action game. Shit, I might have to look into that. September 19th, 2025, Switch, PS5, PC, Xbox Series XS, Sonic Racing, Atomic Hearts 2, Lego Voyagers, okay. Body horror game. Ew. I'll have to look into that. You have to make your way through a horrifying research fort to recover something that means the most to you. Let's see. And that's... You don't have all the shit you either, assholes. Chronicles Medieval trailer. And battles. Okay, no. Alright, that's that. But that's not all that was done that I saw. We also have the Expanse Osiris Reborn. This is by Owlcat Studios, I believe. Not studios. Owlcat Games. Yes. I'm sorry. But this looks fucking great because you have to look at the trailer. They're very much informed by Mass Effect, where you're going to have your own crew. You can choose to be Earther, Belter, Martian, and going through the Expanse universe. And they did show some gameplay. It looks third person, and see, this is where I'm going to be a difference. You're going to be like, oh, that looks kind of Dead Space-ish. I'm like, yes, it will kind of have the horror elements, but it's like a fusion of Dead Space and Mass Effect, but more tilting to the Mass Effect with how the third-person kind of gameplay works out. Now, this is still being developed, so we'll have to see what goes on. But I'm like, ooh, I didn't even know about this. I didn't know about this. I'm happy. Let me see. I'm like, ooh, this excited me. I'm like, Expanse really is ripe for games, and this is an RPG informed by people that played Mass Effect and loved Mass Effect. I'm like, okay, I want you to... This could be a really good one if it works out well, so I hope it does, but I'm not going to just give them the benefit of the doubt. I am hype, but I'm not going to just let it be just gush it praise and everything. They've said good things, and until I see the good things, that's where we need to hit. Alright, I did Resident Evil. We have Code Vein 2. I'm surprised that wasn't put on any kind of bigger kind of one. Now, I understand that Code Vein, again, is another Souls-like, but it's got different kind of elements that kind of don't make it as annoying for me as most kind of Souls-like. I was intrigued and liked what I played through of the first Code Vein. This one seems a little bit more timey-wimey and has some different kind of weird things. I don't know if it's completely still kind of like the vampire kind of thing, blood shit that was going on. because we're seeing more kind of strange heart devices, both for the one chick and the one male character that we see. But I'm like, ooh, okay. If it's just working on and doing better kind of things that the first Code Vein did, yes, please. Maybe a deeper story, more stuff with the companions, and interesting kind of mechanics and kind of tighter controls, I'm fine with. Not that the controls sucked or anything like that, but like you can always tighten them up and make them kind of work within what you're attempting to do. Onimusha. Romeo is a Dead Man is a weird fucking one. That was the one that was also talked about at the State of Play, and I got to look at this motherfucker, and I'm like, holy shit, this definitely looks like shit that was informed by, like, No More Heroes and everything, and I love how it kind of starts out and looks really kind of weird and shitty graphics, and then goes into, like, fighting and everything, dealing with, like, dead people and shit. It looks gnarly. I would definitely recommend checking it out if you're into No More Heroes and the creative teams and minds behind those kind of games. It looks weird, but in your wheelhouse, and the thing is, I'm kind of in that, so I'm like, okay, this looks like in my wheelhouse. I'm going to check this out. So, unfortunately, I've been, like, searching on it in Steam. I was like, I can't wishlist it yet, but alright, we'll see what goes on. And the last one that I saw is, let me see, Deathground, which is one where it sounds kind of like Left 4 Dead 1, 4-player co-op, fighting like dinosaurs, raptors, compies, I guess Triceratops, and like Brachiosauruses and Tyrannosaurus Rexes, and I'm like, okay, now it's coming out early access first, and whenever I hear early access, I get hackles just raised on my back. I'm like, nyeh. So I'm like, okay, let's see how this works. I mean, Hades worked. Other games worked for people. Baldur's Gate worked for people. Alright, cool. Let's see how this works out. I liked what I saw. Graphics look decent. It's an indie kind of team. A funny thing that was going on in the Xbox one was them saying indie stuff, and they showed a screenshot of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I'm like, somebody knows what they're doing. They seem like they got passion for it, which I'm glad for. I just hope that this turns into a game that works, functions, and gets released complete. Like, they do their early access, they do their kind of shit, they tweak and everything. They talked about their maps that they're doing. We saw some kind of stuff that could be gameplay. I'm sorry, I have to quantify this anymore. One, with AI in the wild, who knows what the fuck's going on. Two, even before AI was in the wild, a lot of people would say, hey, this is gameplay or gameplay-like representation or what we hope this gameplay will look like. And sometimes it never even came to that fruition. So always grain of salt that shit. Even though I'm happy and excited for certain kind of things and kind of hype, my hype never goes to any kind of level where I will buy this shit on day one. I will wait to see what happens, because sometimes who knows what the fuck goes on. So overall, I think that these were pretty strong showcases. Other than the, well, I say showcases. I didn't watch the Summer Game Fest. I knew that things were going completely and utterly gnarly, and that's the kind of thing that, like, happens when you don't have a centralized place. But that's because these businesses are assholes. You should really be able to come together and be like, listen, we had E3, and that was really cool and really effective. How about we all work together, we don't make this shit any stupider than we need to, we don't even need to do a whole thing together, we just do this and we release all our shit at once. Over a week. We block out a day for one thing of companies, and then others, and boop, 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 give the time for the people that need it, and be able to, like, do our kind of industry kind of thing to get people for these kind of games. It's better than just everybody just guessing and then just doing their own thing and being like, shit, let's announce this shit in, like, February. It's like, alright, let's announce this, like, in August. Okay. It helps to centralize, and June works out because it's, like, the halfway point. You can be like, alright, this is what we're looking for. It's either coming out now, or it's coming out in, like, the next year, or the next couple of years. Get people progress and goals for that kind of shit. So, the Game Fest is like, I just wanted to talk about certain games that were out there, even though the certain article I was like, I didn't have all the ones, so it was good to make my list. Xbox was good to have the breadth of the games and actually putting out what are their first-party ones. I just don't like them being like, this is our Xbox. It's like, you just Xbox-branded Asus shit. Fuck off, you didn't make it. I'm not surprised if you don't make anything anymore. And then talking about teasing just Halo stuff, so we'll see what goes on with that. And teasing Fable. And then I'm like, listen, I know that the games and the shows are related. The games, the shows, and the movies are related. I don't give a shit about this. What does this say? Xbox Games Showcase. Just show the games. If you have not fucking learned that from it killing the Xbox One, just wait, baby. Like, it pretty much killed Microsoft's, Xbox's business to where they had to go pretty much the subscription route and turn everything into this kind of Xbox thing. I don't think that strategy is going to work as well as people think. They're going to pretty much turn third party at a certain kind of point and just fuck off doing hardware. They'll work with hardware makers maybe, but then it's going to kind of take away a level of optimization and everything. Unless they really focus on their core teams and get them working peak performance on whatever kind of fucked up PC, Xbox thing they do, and other PCs and PlayStation and everything like that. Because PlayStation people and Switch people, if they start shoving games that way, which they should, because everybody deserves to play the games, they're able to optimize them for that hardware as well. Xbox is just at a very stupid space. And the thing is, Microsoft is going hambo-jambo on, doing stupid shit with AI and burning money out the ass when they have, done all this shit, and they should really focus and invest in these content teams and building very good games that people want to buy, to play, and then be like, hey, I like this, guys. Why don't you play it as well? And getting other friends into it as well, to then get into the ecosystem and, I don't know, generate revenue? Basic level. These are products. They should be released complete. They should function. And people should be like, alright, cool. The thing is, you can't make one game for everybody. You can make a lot of different games and a lot of different genres that work for their niches. Don't be like, I need 50 million people to buy Final Fantasy. No. No. That can't happen. Okay? Now, are there millions of Final Fantasy fans? Yes. But certain Final Fantasy fans want certain other kind of things. You know what I mean? Like, you got your turn-based Final Fantasy fans. You got your action Final Fantasy fans. And I'm both. But that's rarer than most. It's like, okay, you can't get to that level. You gotta know how big your market actually is, so you need to actually do fucking research and have a person actually do that. Which an AI and any kind of other thing that you try to automate isn't going to be able to do. Because guess what? Then there's going to be AI people answering your shit, and that's going to skew your data, and you're going to be like, I can get 50 million sales, and you get fucking 50. 50 people. Or 5 million. Or 500,000. And it's like, what? Why isn't this working? Because you've reached the point where you just fucking done shit with that. Sorry, it informs stupid shit and affects it, especially since they're also attempting to inject AI into their Xbox shit to assist you in games. Listen, just be able to let us search and find certain kind of things that people have done for walkthroughs and everything of playing the game and helping us research that way. I'm not going to trust your AI for jack shit. I will always turn off your shit. But I liked what we saw here. There was a lot of different new things. Thank God. There's a lot of things that I was like, what the fuck? How did this happen? Where's this coming from? And also some good sequels kind of things for games. I was like, ooh, Code Vein 2? Yeah. Resident Evil 9? Yeah. It was actually a good kind of surprising year on these kind of things. I liked the stuff that we were seeing. Different kind of ones for PlayStation. Even though I'm like, PlayStation, we need more. And then here was Summerfest, Summer Game Fest, and Xbox. I'm like, okay, we'll see how this goes. So, those are my opinions on both of these showcases. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked them, if you didn't like them, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.